Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very exciting video because I get to show you my new Garage Gym 4.0. This is episode 3 technically. This will be my finished 4.0 Garage Gym tour. However, there was part 1 where I kind of broke you through the vision, and then there's part 2 where I painted and I built the platform. I'll still talk about the platform a little bit during this video, but if you're curious about how to build a level platform, you should definitely click right here and go ahead and check those 2 videos out first. So to keep things rolling, I'm gonna start right over here. We're gonna work our way around the gym, ending with the storage area. Before I get to any of that though, I want to talk about lighting really quick. So basically in every home gym that I've had up to this one, lighting has always been a really big pain in the butt. So that's why I have all of these LED lights on the ceiling. And just to give you guys a little bit of reference and show you the difference, this is what it would have looked like if I never had these lights. So this is that exact same space, but lit with just the 2 100-watt equivalent LED bulbs. So as you can see, having good lighting in a garage gym was absolutely essential for this one. I ended up going to Costco for all of these lights, and they all run off of a switch controlled outlet that is conveniently located where I installed it, right on the light bulb. But let's get these lights back on and get on with the tour. The first place I want to start is right here. So what I've kind of created is a method for storing my Strongman logs. Originally, I'd always stored them upright in a 9-bar holder. However, these take up so much space in that 9-bar holder, plus they're a little bit of a pain in the butt, especially this 170-pounder, to get in and out of that holder. So what I did is I made this, and it's basically made out of 2x4s, and it's all Craig jigged and notched together. Additionally, it's glued. And then I added one extra measure where I put these bungee cords on little hard mounts so that my little kids, if they come out here, they don't pull these off of the wall and onto themselves. On top of the whole thing, I have a shelf, and it's just a 3/4 inch piece of plywood that I have reinforced with some support pieces. And this is kind of like my work table, if you will. So I have all my old training logs, my current training log, my programming, it all stays up here. Additionally, I have a whole bunch of chalk because I can't really figure out where to put it quite yet. I'll probably make a mount or something for it later. And then I have my phone holder, which I oftentimes end up using with my Calibrex. This is a velocity-based training tool. It utilizes LiDAR sensors that are in the bottom. I've been working with them on their beta. I'm really excited to see them actually come to market on something later. Now with the logs, this is just a Pitbull Strongman log. It's an amazing log. Right now, as of this date in December of 2021, he's not really making these logs right now, but I'm hoping that in the early 2022, Pitbull Strongman equipment comes back online because it is an absolutely amazing value. Down below that, I have my DIY Strongman log. If you want to watch how I did this thing, I took a tree that we had felled on my father-in-law's property and literally took it down with an axe, a draw knife. The only power tool that I used when making the log was a hand drill, and I used that to make the handle holes as well as the takedown pins. As a side note, I also have 3 more logs from the exact same tree that are currently in the process of being turned into Strongman logs, just like this. A couple of them gonna be bigger and one potentially a little bit smaller. Underneath that, I keep my stone of steel. I was storing this up on the rack that I'll show you later for a while, but I found that it was just too much of a pain. Plus, the stone of steel is a powder-coated object, and I didn't want there to be direct metal-to-metal contact for storage for the sake of the powder coat and its longevity. We have the log storage, and then we move straight into the first panel of French cleat storage. And on this panel, I store things like my lifting belts, which are mostly from Pioneer. However, I do have one that's coming in from Belt Fed Strength, and I'm very, very excited to see. Additionally, I have a Havoc cable attachment, the XL Triad, along with my MB Power Center 4-way grip. I also have a Cadillac bar and a Transformer bar from Kabuki Strength. These things are absolutely amazing. The reason I store them on this wall instead of my barbell wall, which we'll get to in a moment, is because they stick out a little bit further from the wall than a traditional barbell would. And that other wall is designed to basically allow for plenty of movement for my UPS system to work. Down below that, I have my farmer's handles that were made by a close personal friend of mine way back in like 2016 or 17. I still have them, I still use them. I would love to get some top loading farmers, preferably from MB Power Center or something similar, but at this point in time, it's kind of a lower priority. Of course, I have my preacher pad, and if you haven't seen my video on the preacher pad, you should really check it out. It has earned its place into my gym as a pretty much permanent fixture, and even though I'm a strongman, I can say that I use it way more often than I thought I would. Additionally, I have my Grapito, my ab rollers, as well as 2 different loading pins, one from Rogue and one from Surplus Strength. And then down below from Titan Fitness, I have their Viking press attachment, which I really do got to give some credit. It's about a B+. And of course, way up in the corner, I have my shoe mount, and those hold a set of lifters as well as a set of general purpose shoes that I use for strongman medleys and just kind of wearing around the gym like right now. So that's it for the first panel. Now we're gonna move on to the barbell panel, and then we're going to get back and I get to show you kind of the centerpiece of my gym, which is my Surplus Strength rack. All right, so sorry about the fisheye, but there's not much space right here. But basically what I have here is my barbell storage wall. Now, what I said before is that I designed these mounts so that the bars basically store at the same width out that the concrete wall ends on, the footer ends on at the base. But what that does is it allows me to maximize on my actual platform space, and by storing my specialty bars that don't fit within that zone over on the other wall, it makes it so that I can use the UPS pulley with absolutely zero chance of hitting a bar, or maybe not absolutely zero, there's always a chance. Now with my barbell mounts, you can kind of see a few different iterations of those barbell mounts. These 1/2-inch Baltic birch plywood ones are my most current design, and I'm testing them on my curl bar, which is a Rogue curl bar. Below that, I have my very first design, a barbell holder, which uses a 2x4, and that's what's holding my wife's Bella bar. Below that, I have my axle bar, again, on that same old school mount. This is a little bit of a special axle bar because it uses 2-inch DOM steel, which is drawn over mandrel, versus 1.5-inch Schedule 80 tubing. There's really not that big of a difference outside of the fact that this is a true 2-inch outside diameter, which means that I can use traditional barbell collars on it. Now, I would caution you, if you are tempted to go make your own, you might have to take the sleeves down just a little bit because they are just barely over what a traditional barbell sleeve would be. If you're using calibrated plates, that's a really big problem because they don't fit onto the DOM steel. Below that, I have my MB Power Center food bar, which if you've never watched my video, this is one of my favorite bars, especially for deadlifting and then also for pressing, just because the wider diameter tends to put the pressure right over my radius and ulna versus me getting tempted to basically push my hand back. Additionally, has no flex. Watch my video, I'll link it right here. Below that, I have my 28mm Boneyard bar. Now this was a grab bag bar. It is a bare steel bar, and I'm pretty sure it's a Pyros bar that's Boneyard. Now, a lot of my Rogue bars are Boneyard, and I've taken a lot of chances with it. This one probably has the most dual track knurling of all of them, and you can see it really clearly in a couple different spots on the bar. But honestly, it doesn't bother me because I use it mainly for push pressing as well as for practicing clean and jerk. And for that, it is an absolutely amazing bar. I have zero regrets about spending $195 on it. Under that, I have my OG bar, which is my Rogue Ohio Power Bar, bare steel. Again, this is another Boneyard model, and I am super happy with how it has gained its patina. It has had some rust issues. Again, it is bare steel, but honestly, I really like it. It'll probably stay in the gym forever. Directly below, I have the Cerberus Power Bar. This one I'm currently testing. I will release the video on it soon. I'm gonna leave all my comments kind of off for now on the bar, but I do really like that it has this red striping where the knurl break is, just because it matches the colorway in my gym so well. Below that, I have my Rogue Ohio deadlift bar. And of course, underneath that is one of my all-time favorite bars, the Duffalo bar. This one is bare steel. I specifically requested bare steel. I'm kind of a savage, I think is what Adam at Garage Gym Lab called me, because I do love bare steel. I don't mind the extra maintenance that it takes. And the only issue I've ever had with the duffalo bar is during transit on my last move. It did sit there and rub against something that was metal, and it rubbed right through all of the packaging I put on it, and it wore down that knurling on the outside. So sad face, but life will go on. Below that, I have my Kabuki shoulder rock, as well as my Titan camber bar, and then of course my pair of DB15s. And then of course on the very bottom, I do have a little bit of storage here and there. For instance, I have my Farmer carry converters, so I can turn my Farmer's handles into a makeshift frame, as well as like some flosses, trophies from competitions, and of course a tomahawk, because what veteran gym doesn't have a tomahawk? And one of the things I'm looking at is a way to keep all these barbells maybe a little bit closer, maybe making a single French cleat that attaches at different points, and the bars are basically able to put closer together. This would allow me to get more bars on the wall, which of course allows me to buy more bars. I do have an MB Power Center power pin over on the wall, as well as my duck walk implement from Titan Fitness. And I gotta say that duck walk implement is solid, like absolutely solid. That was the first piece of Titan Fitness equipment that I ever bought that I was impressed with. After that, I have my plate storage, which I designed to work with the wall. There's about 150 pounds on it, but there are 3 different cleat attachment points to the wall, and I've had 0 issues so far. As we move past the barbells on this side, we have all my collar storage, and by all my collar storage, I mean some of my collar storage, as well as my plate tree, and it mirrors on both sides. And then of course my Havoc Triad plate storage. I had originally made that mount to be to store the Havocs as well as the plates, but what I found is that I prefer just to store the Havocs over on the shelf that we'll get to later. Above that, I have an old shoe rack that I've converted into kind of a everything drawer, if you will. So it's got nose torque, it's got my BFR bands, it's got extra new age mouthpieces, it's got my wrist wraps for when I'm doing bench press or overhead press, as well as it holds my stereo up on the top. Very awesome piece, and I'm very happy that I can repurpose these mounts as I see fit. So here we are, the centerpiece of the gym. This is my completely custom Arc Series rack from Surplus Strength. This was the first one from Surplus Strength to be installed in a gym, and I really got to say that I am absolutely in love with it. If you haven't seen my video on the overview and install, click up here. Everything that Jason over at Surplus Strength makes is done very meticulously. The finishes are done well. We spent a lot of time picking different paint colors. Everything with the UHMW is really tight tolerances. So like the drop-in safeties, for instance, are both easy to adjust, but also have tight tolerances. I also really like the branding. It's just nice and clean. Now I did opt for a 4-post rack. The reason I wanted 4 posts instead of 6 is because I can make plate storage over on the walls and store all my 45s down on the bottom over here. Additionally, I can use my storage rack to store any more 45s that I don't feel comfortable putting on those posts. Had I done a 6-post rack, it would have moved this whole unit out about 2 more feet, and then I'm really starting to eat into the area where I do all my overhead movements. Now, I do train and compete in strongman, as well as I kind of toy with Olympic weightlifting. And what I found is that having an open area in front of my platform where I could do all those Olympic lifts were something that was very, very important to me. So I opted for the 4-post in order to keep the space smaller. I do have another set of collars over here. These were actually a gift, or a trade rather, from somebody on the Home Gym Discord who comes here and trains every once in a while. Shout out to Koala Barbell. I traded him a set of Ivanko collars for these Magnetic Rogue ones, and I gotta say these things hold on pretty dang hard, and additionally, having the magnets is super nice for keeping track of your collars. Now, I did say that I was gonna talk about the platform a little bit more. What I have, my total size here is 12 feet long by 24 foot wide, and that's my entire gym space. The platform starts with just a 3/4 inch piece of plywood over on that side, and basically I did a shingle method to level out this first 12 by 12 foot area. Now the 8 by 12 platform on the end, I do want to still level that at a later date. I might do a different method, but with this being my deadlift area, I really didn't want to do any of the hollow platforms I'd seen using 2x4s to level everything out. I can't see that working well in my situation. I got a feeling something's gonna break. So that is the French cleat storage. That is my Arc Series rack. Now I'm really excited to move you guys over to the Arc Series storage unit. So the next area is, of course, the storage area, and there's a couple things that you'll notice. One, the lighting over in this side of the gym isn't complete yet. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do it, because a future expansion for my gym is going to be to raise up my garage door tracks so they basically come in flush with the 9-foot ceiling that is on this side of the garage. Now when I do that, if I had installed these types of lights over here, it wouldn't have worked. So I'm looking at some garage door style lighting that installs on the garage door itself, as well as having some flush LEDs put in over here. This is the storage area though, and you'll notice first off that my Arc Series storage unit is actually taken off of the wall by just a little. The reason that I pulled it off the wall was so that I could store my yoke in an area where the garage door wouldn't hit it. Again, the garage door is too low. Right now, it's only a 7-foot garage door. So if I'd stored my yoke, like right here, every time I open up the garage door, it was gonna hit the uprights. Additionally, I can't store it on the other side of my garage because the other side of my garage is a functioning wood shop. So what I did is I pulled the storage unit off the wall so that this post lines up perfectly with the back post of my storage rack, but it worked out perfectly because I can store my deadlift tires as well as my yoke and a couple other odds and ends. Additionally, it gives me the capability to stick a storage post coming back off for like my band storage as well as my chalk bowl storage, which does fit back over here. The UPS storage unit I have is 6 feet tall as well as 6 feet wide. That does allow me to stack up both of my crash pads from Titan Fitness. I just did a review on these. You can watch that up here. And those are out of the way by like an inch for the garage door to open up. I also have just kind of some random odds and ends storage up on the top shelf to include some mobility tools, my safety spotter arms, my bench leg attachment that I never use. It's for doing decline. I don't know why I bought it, as well as my TRX and my cones. On the shelf directly below that, which is all of the multi-use style shelving that is on the Arc Series rack, I have my UPS low, as well as all my carabiners and grip tools. Some of the tools that I have are like my DIY, actually I didn't DIY this, somebody actually machined this for me, but it is a lug from a 155 projectile, and we basically machined all the threads off of it, and it is a micro hub. I also have a Rolling Thunder. I have the Denny Stone rings replicas from Rogue Fitness, I-beam attachment from Mike Bartow's Power Center. I have the grandfather clock as well as the cannonball style grip attachments, pinch blocks. I also have my cable tool, my Monster landmine handle. No, my Monster cable attachment tool. Love this thing, super awesome tool. And what I do when I have like my grandfather clock grips, or if there's like a 2-handled grip, is I have a Steadfast lifting product, tire together thing. I can't remember what it's called. When we go to the shelf below that, I kind of have my knee sleeve just tossed here for now, but I have additional band storage to include some of my really huge bands. I have some oil as well as some tools for doing barbell maintenance. My Havoc triads, which I will be releasing a video of soon. I really like these things. A small assortment of kettlebells, and then of course my circus dumbbells. Below that I have my Android landmine. This most of the time stays right here. However, I do just have the nuts hand tight on the backside so that I can reach back there and I can move this thing to where I need it to go. I do love that the Arc Series storage rack is so robust and so stout that I can put this here and use it. This is the most robust storage unit I've ever seen. Below that, I have my bumper plate storage. I do have some sets of 45s, 25s, 15s and 10s. Next to that, I have some other smaller medicine balls, as well as my 10-pound medicine ball, my daughter's Texas Power Concept Circus dumbbell, and my Grapedo bucket of sand. I also use this bucket of sand for adjusting my throw Strongman sandbag weight. Underneath, I have my electronics box, so this is kind of where I keep my YouTube, like my microphone storage, camera storage, that kind of thing. It stays locked up and tethered to the storage unit, as well as a broken down MB Power Center modular PR platform. I'm doing a video review on this soon. I'm finishing up my notes on it, and one of the things I love, and I'll share here, is that it stores really nicely, broken down and underneath the bottom shelf of this rack. Over on this side, I have my Husafell stone and my leaf blower that just hit me. And in the back corner, I just kind of have like a PVC pipe. I have an extendable tube that I can use to do a really high camera angle, as well as a small section of 1.5-inch Schedule 80 tubing that I haven't really figured out what to make with yet. In front of the storage unit, I keep my deadlift jack. I keep it over here so that it kind of just stays out of the way. I would love to do the Cleverbelt one, but I'll probably do that at a later date. I just love that it takes up so little space, and I could probably store it on a French cleat somewhere. So that brings us to the 8x12 area that is unleveled, and there's really not too much over here. My goal is to keep it open. Now I do have my AB 5000 bench, and right now I'm debating between selling this and testing a different bench, because I've done a couple videos on this one, or maybe finding a way to paint this one and maybe make it better. Additionally, I have my Rogue Strongman throwing sandbag, as well as a Cerberus 100 kilogram bag, a Ludus Imperium bag, and I don't think you can get Ludus or Mat Fitter bags anymore, but they're my 100 and 150 pound bag. But that is Garage Gym 4.0. Very, very excited to finally have this space feeling pretty finished. There are a couple little touch-ups here and there, some paint that needs to be finished. Probably need to do some more French cleat stuff. And those kind of expansions are things that just happen as you move into a space. I am excited to see what this gym ends up looking like at the end of winter, and then of course into summer next year. I'm excited to see what equipment comes in and out. I'm also really, really excited to potentially start doing more barbell style reviews so that I can also collect more barbells. But that's been it for this video. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys that watch every single week. And remember that when it comes to your garage gym, you should always keep it better, awesome, and of course, badass. I'll catch you guys next time.